All right, so I got 18 minutes. I think that's enough time. All right, so I've been meaning to make this video for a long time. Life is what happens when we're busy making other plans, right? So I'm just gonna make it now because I saw it happen the other day, and it's, it exists on its spectrum, and the worst case scenarios are like just so hard to deal with. I've had to deal with some clients like this, and I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. Other trainers have said this, and it's just a thing. Like, the worst case scenarios really go down, actually have narcissism in them. And so what am I talking about? So, sometimes when I'm on the street, I get asked questions, and I'm happy to answer questions when I can. Sometimes I just can't because I'm busy working, right? People get that for the most part. Some people think I have like an obligation to answer their questions. It's fucking insane with some people, but that's what it is. And people ask all types of questions, and some are harder to answer than others. I mean, some of them are ridiculously easy. Punishment. How do I stop him from doing this? Punishment. It's really easy. It's that easy sometimes, and sometimes it can be complex. This situation would definitely be complex because the complexity of a narcissist is layered with like all this garbage, and it's just insane. So one of the questions that I get asked is like, what's the worst thing I can do to my dog? I also get asked, what's the best thing? I'll save that for another video. I definitely have an opinion on what's the best thing for the dog. I have a lot to say on that. But what's the worst thing you can do to your dog? The worst thing that you can do to your dog is give affection to the dog for no reason at all. And I'm not talking about massaging your dog. I'm talking about excitable and stimulating type of attention. I've always said you give direction before affection, right? Or give direction instead of affection. There's nothing wrong with giving affection. I give affection to all my dogs, right? It's just there's a time and place for it. And the reality is that there are some sick people out there, duh, and the reality is they're not doing it to please the dog, they're doing it to please themselves. And that's crazy. That's crazy. You have to be crazy to do that. And some people can't see what's right in front of them, right? You call it denial, right? So the case that I saw, I was at the casino, and I was doing my thing with the poker, and just taking a stroll, taking a break, and I came across a lady who was just petting her dog, and the dog was anxious as hell, like crackhead crazy, And I have I'm familiar with sports and working dogs a little bit. Crazy can be good if you can channel that drive into the appropriate activities. That would be the good thing. But there's no question that this lady wasn't aware of what she was doing. And if I challenged her on what she saw, what she didn't see, she'd probably throw a hissy fit or, pass me off, right? Disregard me. There's all sorts of ways that these people do it. One of the situations that I've had, which was crazy, was I actually had a client, and I was really just I'm never just walking a dog. I'm always training a dog. I just can't walk a dog. It's just boring. I mean, sometimes it's nice. If the dog walks really well, we can go for a nice long walk. Like, oh, what happened to the lighting? Oh, I don't know anything about this stuff, so I don't know how to control it. Anyways, there was this one time I worked for this lady. I'm not even going to call her a lady. She was a girl at best. But crazy person. it didn't go well with these people. These people were so irresponsible in terms of understanding what they had. They had 2 large working dogs, a Plot Hound and some mixed feral mutt. Well, it used to be feral. And the dogs had serious issues. Like when it came to possession, reactivity, that shit would come out like, woo! And I know what an issue is. I don't have to push a dog. I don't have to put a dog in a situation for that long to know the propensity of danger that they can do. And these people, these clients, they were planning on having kids. That's what she was telling me. At least she told me that, yeah, they were married. They were going to get married, and they were going to have some kids. And that is just not a good combination. It's a dangerous combination. When you have a kid, kids, look, you can do the best job you can. Every once in a while, the kid's going to go up to the dog, and you're not going to be paying attention. The dog has a bone, has a ball, and the kid wants to play too. It's bad news, man. It's bad news. You could fatal consequences, no question about it. And I was trying to help them. I was really trying to help them because I knew the propensity of danger that was. So one day, I was right there with her. I don't actually remember if it was that I was right there with her or I texted her. But she gave her affection to her dogs like they were crackheads and she was a dealer. Like for no reason at all. I think the other thing with some of these people is that the reason they do it is to create an image that everything's okay. And the reality is that she's not making her dog feel good. She's just stimulating her dog. And it never comes to fruition. That's dopamine. That's crackhead addiction type stuff. And the reality is that it might look good on the outside to a very amateur person, a person who doesn't know any better, but one day it's going to blow up and it's going to be a bad situation, especially with those dogs. There was just one day I took them out. I did a lot of work with them inside, close to home. Then I took them to the park to see how much fun we could have with some, like a ball and toy, and we didn't have any fun. I wouldn't allow it to happen because either they were going to bite each other, redirect on each other, or redirect on me. That's how reactive they were. And so I told her one day, I was like, well, one of the things that you can do is stop giving your dog affection at this particular time, or for no reason at all. And she flipped out on me. Science doesn't care about your feelings. Like, I respect your feelings, but science doesn't care. If you want this result, you have to do this, right? That's where dog training can be ridiculously simple. So you just follow the rules and have consistency and take responsibility and accountability, and you can be okay. Complex stuff is always fun too. But that's sort of like the simple part of it, right? You just abide by what everyone else is doing, right? The sick thing, I think what happens is some people take it personally, and that's what makes them sick. Is that they think their affection is special. And it is, in some regard. But you still have to follow the rules, right? It's not like you can break... there are some people who can break the rules. It's because they know the rules, right? Some people have to follow the rules, And this notion that for her to argue with me, it was just... like, I knew at that point there was no hope, and I wasn't going to try. I'm not there to be a cheerleader, right? And I wasn't getting paid money that I was going to be training them or anything like this. They weren't serious about it, is what I would basically, how I'd put it. They didn't realize the seriousness of their problem. And, look, most people I tell, stop giving the dog affection right now, right? They listen, they understand, they get it, right? But some people, there's this weird problem with understanding reality. And I think it goes back into narcissism. It's selfish at the end of the day because they're not really doing it for the dog. They're doing it for themselves. And, what you're going to get out of that is just a horrible situation. You know, you're gonna get a situation where it's just like there's gonna be no progress. You know, so I'm just a messenger at the end of the day. You know. And it's just the way that she came at me, I guess, how I remember it, you know. Let me think of some other things. Okay, and I guess this is something else I'll say, because it's just something that I think is really important to understand. Like, I have a lot of experience dealing with dogs who have PTSD, who are anxious, nervous, and either are aggressive as a result of that or aren't aggressive as a result of that. And so now let me put it this way. If we took these people who had a problem with giving affection to their dog, and we took the group of people who realized that their actions are causing their dog to be anxious, right? And they were okay with that, and they were cool with that, and they were ready to change their behavior in order to help the situation. If we took those people, right, and we said to them, all you need to do is punish your dog at that point instead of giving affection. That's all you need to do. Change from affection to punishment. Or you can go back to how I phrased it before, affection, direction. Punishment is the technical term, right? But if we did that, that's what's going to make it work. I can't tell you how many times I've worked with a dog where the dog is anxious, they're expecting affection, they don't deserve it because they're behaving like fools, right? And I don't give them affection because I abide by certain rules. That's why I have the success that I have today. And yeah, I don't give them affection. They're gonna be annoying about it. They're gonna try and bug me. I have alligator skin when it comes to dogs who try and do that. I've dealt with the worst of the worst when it comes to that type of thing. I have to be a rock. I have to be solid as a rock. I have to be just as persistent as the dog in not giving affection when they want it. Now, let's say we ride that wave for a little bit, right? We go through the motions, let the dog go through the motions. I want to fetch you in your face, you know. They'll give you the cutest face too, and you gotta be like, no, you're not getting affection. Then you start to correct them because you're starting to get sick of it, and you're just not gonna tolerate it anymore, and it's not good for them, right? I see it as a moral obligation to the dog, right? Other than a professional, if I was getting paid, it's an interesting situation there. So I start to give corrections. I give a couple gentle ones in the beginning because if I give them a strong one, they're just gonna. I mean, it could work, but I like to go gentle, right? So I introduce them to the corrections, right? And then when I'm ready, I give them the one that they really need. I can't tell you how good it is for the dog. If I were to project, which you shouldn't do a lot of, but just for the sake of giving an example here, if I could project what the dog was saying to me with the eye contact that they give me, when I don't give them affection, when they don't deserve it, when they've expected it their whole life and probably got it before, and instead give them direction with punishment and corrections and stuff like this. The look on their face, if I could put it into words, they look at me in the eyes and they look at me and it's like they're saying, you get me. Because it's the first time someone's been able to calm them down. And that feeling of calmness is something that they want. That they don't want to be anxious. They just haven't had a leader to deliver it to them. And the look on their face is just priceless. It's like they're telling you, you get me. And I'm so happy that I'm with you right now. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional because that's the reality. When you get through to some of these anxious dogs, that's the reality, is that they need a leader. They need direction. And yeah, you have to ride the wave of emotions that come out of it. Some dogs can be incredibly persistently annoying, and you have to have rock solid, alligator skin and not get irritated by it. But when you start to get irritated by it, do something about it and show them that you're not going to tolerate it. and it's just not going to happen. And that there's actually a better way to be. I mean, in some situations, you know, the dog gives you that face that I just talked about where it looks like they're saying, you get me, which is great. And in other situations, other stuff happens, other good stuff happens, like a dog will go to sleep. That's better than, you know, in your face, like annoying crackhead stuff, right? That's better. Sleeping, right? That's probably what they need. So that's all I got for right now. When we give affection, we have to ask ourselves, does it serve the dog? And if it doesn't, don't do it, right? This is just a huge problem across the board with a lot of people. They give their dog affection for the stupidest reasons, and sometimes no reason at all. And it's vain, it's vanity, you know? It's as if like they don't have to play by the rules. They're not good enough to not play by the rules. They don't know, right? You know? Yeah, all right. That's all I got. Hope everyone's well and in good spirits. Peace.